Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem, a postmortem of my Blitz game number 447. I had the white pieces. I kicked off with e4. My opponent played c6, the Caro-Kann defense. So I play d4, the main move, and I have been surprised on occasion with some funny alternate replies like d6 or e6, which I guess are playable, but d5 is the main way of playing this. This is the typical Caro-Kann setup, and white has a number of ways of responding. The classical response is knight to c3, just putting pressure on the center and usually leading to an exchange, which gives white a little more space in the center and a decent game. e5 is very popular recently amongst the grandmasters, and the way I play most often, and it's a good line to learn. If you have to learn any line, it seems to score pretty well for white. So if you have to choose one line to learn against the Caro-Kann, I would probably learn that one. But I've been experimenting, or wanting to experiment, with the third line here, e takes d5. This is known as the exchange variation, the Panov-Botvinnik attack. I'm sorry. So he takes back, and then I play c4. So that's the idea of the Panov-Botvinnik attack, is you get a quick pressure against the d5 pawn, and you're willing to accept an isolated queen's pawn. So black responds with knight f6, just holding on to the center. He wants to take back with a knight here rather than a queen if I were to take. If he takes with a queen, then knight to c3 would gain a tempo on the queen. So that's knight f6. So e6 continuing to defend the center, and knight f3 just normal development. So far it seems pretty straightforward with this setup for white. You're just trying to put a lot of pressure on the d5 point. My opponent played bishop to e7 here. Looks like the most common move is bishop b4. I wanted to take a look at this because I am trying to learn this opening. If bishop b4 had been played, it looks like either bishop d3, like I played in the game, or c takes d5 are moves. So let's check this out. C takes d5, knight takes. I mean, it seems to be inviting a lot of pressure on the c3 point, but it looks like queen c2 or bishop d2 are both adequate to defend. And I guess black doesn't really want to take right here because it'll just bring a pawn forward and be an okay position for white with the b pawn coming to c3 and then helping to defend d4. So just continuing development with knight c6, and then bishop d3, setting up on this diagonal. Looks like a pretty typical kind of idea in the Caro-Kann, in the Panov-Botvinnik attack. Okay, so let's go back to the game. Let's see, in this position, he didn't play bishop b4, he played bishop e7. And now I should take, as in the previous line, I should take here and go for that kind of setup. I guess this is even a little bit better for me because he doesn't have the pin on my knight. So the knight will come here, but there's no big threat to c3. And I'm free to develop as I choose. One idea, I guess I'll go ahead and show this. If you take, knight takes, bishop d3, knight c6, castles, is it here? Oh, first rook e1, bishop f6, and now a3 is an idea here to keep the knight from hopping into the b4 square, so you can set up on this diagonal. Notice he can't in this situation, he can't play queen c2 right away because the knight would hop into b4. But it looks like actually bishop e4 is played first, and then knight c7 dropping back to defend the d5 point. So it looks like you can remember this opening by just the idea of keeping up the pressure on the d5 square. At least that'll give you a lot of the main moves. Anyway, I played bishop d3 here. If we back up, let's see. Yeah, bishop d3 is the third choice, and it's not a horrible move, but maybe not the best move. He goes ahead and takes and castles, and we get a similar kind of situation. As often in the Caro-Kann Panov-Botvinnik attack, you get the isolated queen's pawn, and let's see, knight c6. He just continues developing and targeting this pawn. And here I moved my queen to e2, which is just a blunder. And we're out of the opening book here, so we can look at the notation tab. Queen to e2 is a blunder because it just gives up the the d pawn for no good reason. This knight c6 was attacking the pawn. He's got two attackers, I got two defenders, but I can't move them away. Anyway, oh well, let's see. Is there another move here? a3 is probably the move to play here. Keeping the knight out of the b4 square, and then maybe pushing on with d5. So very typical ideas with the isolated queen's pawn to to push this pawn forward when you have the chance. And notice that you first play a3 to take this b4 square away from the knight, so the knight can't go to b4 when you play d5. Okay, I didn't do that. I played queen e2, and now he can just grab the pawn. He played b6 first, and I should still be okay here with a move like rook d1. But instead I played bishop to f4. It's a good active square for the bishop, but I was just forgetting about the fact that this pawn is hanging. He took with the knight. Yeah, I guess he has to take with the knight. And now pinning does not help. If I play the rook here to pin the knight, he can still take on f3 because he's taking with check. So so the pin on the queen is not effective. I tried queen d3 here, and then he plays knight takes f3 check, which is a mistake actually. I didn't play this correctly, but let's go ahead and put this on the board. I should, and my original intent in playing queen d3 was to be able to take back with the queen, and this is good for white. Suddenly I'm getting an attack. I didn't play this way, but suddenly I'm getting attack on his rook here, and his rook can't move to this square because the bishop's in the way. So he needs to do something about this. What is it? Oh, queen d4, counterattacking. And actually this queen d4 move was a move I was afraid of because I thought it was forking my two bishops. What I didn't see when I was trying to figure this out during the game, I didn't see that my queen was defending one bishop. So actually I can play bishop here and maintain the pressure on the rook. And it looks like I have a good game at this point. Notice his bishop can't move out of the way. It doesn't have any good squares to go to. So it's hard for him to defend the rook. The engine is saying he needs to play a move like e5 or a6, kicking my bishop. But with a slight edge to white, even though black is a pawn up. So I guess my pressure is worth something here. Anyway, like I said, I was somehow worried about the queen coming to d4 after my queen got out of the way and the fork on the bishops. Of course, there is no fork because one bishop is defended. But anyway, that was my misconception. I took with the pawn, and now black is very much better. He could just trade queens right away, but he develops a piece. This is all good too. He's hitting this f3 square, and he's now threatening to trade queens and then grab another pawn. So I take the queens off, and he took back with the f pawn, the f rook, and then I drop back here to defend my f3 pawn. So yeah, he's just winning. He's up a pawn, and my king side is messed up. So it should be pretty straightforward for black from this point. He starts out good. He plays knight to d5, forking these two pieces and forcing some more trades. This helps. And then I played rook to c1, just threatening to come to c7 and fork his bishops. And he played the move h6, and then I played the move rook c7, and he resigned. But I wanted to provide a little tactical quiz here. He didn't need to resign. In fact, he has a saving move in that position. So if you want to think about it, you have to imagine the move h6 has been played, and then the move rook c7, and your two bishops are forked, but it's your turn to move. You have the black pieces. What would you do in that position to save the game? And I'll pause. Oh, pause the video here if you want some time to think about it. Okay, I'm going to give the answer away. So h6 was played, like I said. I played rook c7, and he resigned. But he had the move, and there's only one move, you see, that saves the game for black. But it's a good one, bishop to g5. And something to keep in mind when your pieces are forked, see if you can move any of them with a threat, either of them with a threat. So this bishop moves with the threat on my bishop. My bishop here on f4 is completely undefended. And let's see, bishop to e3, just retreating it, gives black time to defend his bishop, and he stays a pawn up. So that would be fine. But now you have to wonder about, well, what if I take? Because in exchange, if he just takes back with the pawn, then I'll grab his bishop and I'll be fine. I'll be a piece up. But he takes with the rook. He doesn't take with the pawn. He takes with the rook, and that's with check. So now I have to move my king, and now he's got time to save his bishop, so he can bring his bishop out here. So he maintains his material. He's still a pawn up. My king side is still messed up, and black is still winning. So anyway, that's funny that he resigned in this position. Let's back up to where we were in the game, right here, after rook c7. Yeah, he resigned in this position when he had a move, which was playable. Okay, anyway, interesting game. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.